You're listening to our social newscast with me, Sam Marshall, and today we're talking to Shadrach Sabisi, who's the chairman of the South African Tobacco Transformation Alliance, and he's also the president of the Black Farmers Association. Recently, Shadrach and his team put out a media statement titled "Black Tobacco Farmers Say Government Has Done a Deal with the Devil," and he unpacks how the ban on cigarettes has affected the black farmer and the industry in South Africa. Shadrach joins us now on our social TV newscast. Please explain to us what's the current situation on the ground.
The current situation on the ground is dire, so to speak, Sam, because actually we are out of business, so to speak. I need to be honest with you. The government, the very government that we put to look after us, have made sure that they take us out of business so that we can be listed as new beneficiaries in the form of grants that they are happy to dish.
The government will argue that it has a compelling reason as to why they lifted on level 3 the ban on alcohol, but not the ban on cigarettes. As the Black Tobacco Farmers Association, do you agree with government's assessment that because COVID-19 is a respiratory problem, that smokers would be and will be badly affected if the ban was lifted?
I think, Sam, we need to remember South Africa is not an island. It's part of the international community. As such, there are studies that are being carried out where this coronavirus almost started, whereby they've made it clear through medical evidence, not opinion, that COVID cigarette or tobacco products do have an inhabitant in as far as COVID-19 is concerned. But on the side of government, which is fighting tooth and nail to make sure that we're out of business, there's no sure evidence that they've put forward to sustain their theory. But on the other hand, the illicit market that they've given them 100% market share to run over since the inception of the lockdown at the expense of complying regulatory manufacturers of tobacco as well as farmers. What do you call that? Is that not irrational?
In your press release, you talk about the consultation that you had with government and you're calling it a smokescreen. Why do you think that individuals within government, the parties that you had the discussions with, were disingenuous from the beginning?
You must remember that before the lockdown started, we were given the opportunity to engage with all the relevant stakeholders in the government, of which we did before level 5 was pronounced. When we moved to level 4, we awarded that same opportunity, and we did exactly that. Up to now, before level 3, we did make submission to the very government, but nothing has come up positive on our side. Looking at the number of new era black tobacco farmers that are now going to be out of business, as the government is all bent to see to it that they take out the industry out of business completely for the benefit of the illicit cigarette smugglers, which they know, which they've been given 100% market share, because before the lockdown, they knew that 42% of the market shares was in the hands of the illicit. But now, when you ban the illegal tobacco sales that contribute to the coffers and is looking after dependents in the region of 30,000 plus, with people that contribute nothing to the coffers, do you think that is a fair assessment as far as the government is concerned, because the cigarette, 90% of the population, they are buying cigarette every day, unfortunately, through the black market, which is not regulated, and it pays nothing to the receiver of revenue. Is that a current government?
There's 11 plus million smokers in South Africa. And obviously, if there's a ban on cigarettes and they are smoking, I think the deductions are correct that they are getting it from someone or illegally. How many black farmers are directly affected by this ban? And this ban has been well over 50 days now. How many small farmers, producers are we talking about, Shadrach?
We are talking about our members that are on the Black Tobacco Farmers database. It's 164 in the 5 provinces where we produce the leaf in South Africa.
What does that in terms of numbers look like? What are we talking from a loss of income perspective?
It's huge. It ranges from 11 to 15 million. That's what the cost we are counting. And that is inflicted wounds by the very government that we put to look after ourselves. But now they've turned to look after criminals.
Is that 11, 15 million per day, per month? What do we talk about in terms of just the sheer size of that number? Is that on a daily basis?
Those numbers, it's what the new era tobacco farmers, they make per annum.
It is quite emotional when one loses a means to a livelihood. But you also then call the government into a form of disrepute by saying that the government is backing illicit trading. Is that an emotional reaction to a frustration, or is that rooted in fact?
That's, to me, it's a fact. What I would ask the law enforcement agencies to do is to investigate where does the illicit money goes to. If that can come out in the open, I'll be happy.
Please paint a picture for me. If this ban continues, now we know alcohol is going to be lifted, limited alcohol sales from the 1st of June. What will this industry look like if this ban continues unabated for another 30, 40, 50, 60 days?
We are total out of business as I'm speaking, because for the past 62 days, not a single cigarette of the leaf produced in South Africa has seen the market. But 100% of the market share is in the hands of illicit. Remember, the cigarette industry contributes 36 million per day to the receipt of revenue, including the commercial one. The ones that we are trying to make sure with the formation of this South African Tobacco Transformation Alliance, to make sure that everyone plays on the same level in this industry, which every player have put their hands together to make sure that the industry is really transformed. But now the government see it fit that they want to destroy everything. Everything, completely everything. And that really pains me, because it means of all the 164 new era tobacco farmers, which are all black, will have to go back and be slaves in a form of curing for grants from the government, when we have been given a livelihood to look after ourselves in a more dignified way, where we can fend for ourselves without waiting for government handout.
Is there any potential legal avenues that the Black Tobacco Farmers Association, along with the national body, is there any legal route that you're currently investigating? I know that there are some organizations and institutions that have taken government to court that is currently sitting around the table with government, but are you pursuing a legal action?
What we are doing is to make sure that we engage the government that we elected, that we so assume will look after us, but unfortunately, it seems that they've forgotten they are out of office. We are still prepared to engage them as we have done always from pre-level 5 up to now level 3. We will continue engaging them. We are not going to break off until they do the correct thing, which I know they know that they are doing us injustice.
Prior to the engagement, you had some engagement with government. There was, as you stated earlier, some consultations. As we're sitting now, as all forms of communication stop, have you received any letters from whoever you were dealing with within government to say that at some point we will continue this conversation? Or are you, as we're talking now, kind of knocking on a door that's been closed?
Every time we have been given the opportunity to make our submission, but not knowing from our side that it was just a play for us to continue. But we are not going to break off. We will continue up to where they see it fit that now we need to benefit as legal tobacco producers instead of the criminals that they are now in bed with.
Because even the headline on your presser says black tobacco farmers say government has done a deal with the devil. Who's the devil? Who have they done a deal with from an illicit perspective, from an illegal perspective that you know of? Do you have hard facts?
The actions that have been unfolding since the ban since the announcement of the lockdown proof indeed that it's underhand somewhere. I don't want to point fingers to say who is who because I don't know who is who. But it is a fact that if an investigation will be carried out to check where these millions of illicit cigarette money goes to, then the truth will come forward. Then we'll know who are those criminals. Because surely no one will be saying legal cigarettes must be banned, while on the other hand, the illicit cigarettes have been given 100% market share. How do you say that? You don't have to be a rocket scientist to put the dots and see that something's fishy.
That is Shadrack Sibisi, who is the chairman of the South Africa Tobacco Transformation Alliance, and is also the president of the Black Farmers Association. Shadrack, thank you very much for your time.
It's a pleasure.
For more stories like these, go to www.social-tv.co.za. Subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on our social mediums.